Hey guys, I want to shoot a video that I think is one of the most powerful thing you'll ever learn. I got exposed to this, I think, 3 years ago, and it has really changed the way I look at how to earn a living. And basically, I was teaching this to one of my students last night. He didn't quite get it because it's such a very scary concept, and it's a thing that they actually no one ever actually teach it to you unless you talk to someone who is an entrepreneur or who thinks the world very differently. Anyways, I was exposed to this idea maybe 3 4 years ago. His name is Demarco. You can watch his video online. Very interesting guy. Anyways, he talks about this concept for scaling, and he goes, like if you work in a business or a job and it cannot scale, it means you are not in control of your life or destiny. And why did I have this conversation with my students last night? Because we are talking about his work and stuff, and I'm tired because I'm working like crazy trying to build my business, and he's tired because he does manual labor, and basically he's looking for another job because he's getting tired of doing this job. But he's basically looking. He told me he didn't want to trade one manual labor job for another manual labor job, and I try to help my students out. I say, well, that's a good point, but your ultimate goal is to acquire skill or build skill, and then somehow create earn a living where your skill is independent of your time. And so what I mean is this: like I went to fashion school, art school, and when I graduated, I worked in the fashion industry. And it took me a while, maybe a couple of years, and I started making really good money. And I worked in the fashion industry, and I made maybe 25, $30 an hour. And I sat in front of a computer and I designed all day and stuff like that. And so my money, how much I made, was tied to my time. So if I made, let's make the math easy. Let's just say you make $10 an hour, right? And if you want to make $20 an hour, if you want to make $20, you have to work two hours. If you want to make $30 you have to work 3 hours, right? But what if you bust your ass and you work super hard? Well, you're still gonna make $10 an hour. Your boss might pat you on the head and give you a bonus or whatever, or your boss might raise your rate, your pay by $1 or $2. So now you're making $12 an hour or $13 an hour, right? But here's the problem: what you do is tied to your time, right? And unless you happen to be a celebrity or movie star, or you happen to be a doctor or lawyer, you're never going to make enough money. And so you got to rethink how to do this. Okay. And so I stopped working for time for money. And what I mean is, everything I do now, I got to see if I have the opportunity to scale. If I cannot scale, I will not do it. And what I mean is, if I get into a business or if I do a job and I cannot scale it, I cannot multiply it, quadruple it, or manipulate the input, I'm not going to do it. So I'll give you an example. A couple months ago, I saw a posting looking for a graphic designer. The pay wasn't very good, maybe 35,000 a year or whatever, but it's not bad for this little town we live in. And I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to apply because once again, I'm not following that rule that I just discovered 3 years ago, which is if you do something that cannot scale, you need to avoid it. And what do I mean? Okay, so um, I am shipping these merchandise out today, okay? And I bought these for $1 each, and I sold them for $16 each. So what I just did is I just scaled, right? It took me maybe 3 minutes to look up how much these cost when I was at the garage sale, and I bought it for $1, and I knew that I can sell it for anywhere from 12 to $20. And so now I'm in a business where I try to find things that I can buy at a good margin and I can sell it. Now, that's a very easy concept, but let's push it beyond that. Everything I do now has to have the ability to scale. In other words, I can either make 1 cent or 20 cents or $1 or $20. It doesn't matter because if it takes me 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I have the ability to manipulate that. So a lot of times we're working in a job or business that does not allow to manipulate that, right? So getting back to my point, you may be you may be a secretary, right? You make 14 bucks an hour, right? And you stay after work, you come in early, you don't take a lunch break, you bust your ass, you're still making 14 bucks an hour, right? And let's just say you want to make an extra $100 that month, you can't, right? So what you need to do is you got to kind of sit back and say, you know what can I do? What can I do to acquire skill and apply it to something that allow me to scale quickly, right? And so this is why all these tech companies are worth billions of dollars, because they can massively scale, right? So in other words, Facebook, it costs them the same amount of money for one server. Let's just say a server can serve one customer or 50,000 customers, right? So their goal now is to constantly multiply and expand. So right now, Facebook and Amazon, for example, Amazon is expanding like crazy, and their investors are not asking for a huge profit return because their investors are looking for them to be scale. Okay. So yesterday, for example, I shipped out close to $200 worth of stuff on eBay, and um, I scale. You know, if I was to work at my part-time job, at the best I can do was $13.50 an hour. You know, and if I worked the whole night, 8 hours, I could have probably walked out, you know, for $100. You know, by the time I pay tax and all these other crap. Now, yesterday I shipped out $200 worth of merchandise, and I was able to scale. And so my goal now is to constantly up that game, right? So I'm constantly looking for things I can buy, and my margin gets. My margin doesn't have to get bigger, like wider, because as you go up and higher, your margin actually gets tighter. So what I mean is, when you're at Walmart, the company Walmart itself, their margins may be 13%, 6 to 13% on most merchandise, right? So in other words, if they sell you something for $1, they're only making $1.30. Okay, so their margin is very tight, but they're scaling really quick in the sense that they want to have a store everywhere. So my goal now is to scale really quick. So I thought of a couple of ventures, and if you follow me on Facebook, I'm dropping hints on those ventures. But I'm shooting this video once again to help my friends and anybody who's struggling right now. For the longest time, I didn't understand this concept. So for me, I felt I wasn't in control of my life. And what happened was, um, when I moved here, I kind of gave up a really good paying job. You know, I got laid off, and I moved here. And I for 10 years, I worked as a teacher assistant. I made no money. I busted my ass. I was kind of underappreciated, right? And my dream was constantly look for a job back in the graphic industry again. You know, I'll be so happy if someone hired me for 14 bucks an hour and I sat in front of a computer and design all day. That was my dream, and I felt so happy if I got to do that. And now I realize that that concept, that idea is all wrong. It's all wrong because, once again, I'm tying down my skill or my expertise to a time. So someone promised to give me 14 bucks an hour, 15, doesn't matter what they promise to give you, right? And in exchange, you give them 1 hour of your time, right? But you don't have the ability to manipulate that because time is constant. So a couple of days ago, maybe 3 days ago, I hired two teenage boys to help me clean the gym. And afterward, we started chatting, and I gave them some advice. And I said, listen, right now you have no money, no skill, but you have time. So you're right now you're 16. So what you need to do is you need to acquire skill, acquire skill. Then take that skill and find something that you can do and make money off it independent of time. In other words, do not sell yourself out for time for money. In other words, if I know how to fix a car, right, I go to an auto body shop, and the auto body shop manager say, well, I'll give you 25 bucks an hour. Okay, so you make 25 bucks an hour, you're happy and everything. That's fine. If you, I mean, 25 bucks is a lot of money, and I would definitely work in a job like that. But let's just say you go, and they only pay you 12 bucks an hour. In that case, you still want to work that job to support your family, but your ultimate goal is to find something where you can manipulate that independent of time. So think of time as linear, and think of making money as scaling up. Now, a lot of us are trapped in a job where our time is linear and our pay is linear. We don't have the ability to escalate that, right? And this is what I mean. Like, So right now, I'm struggling. My cash flow is crazy, and it took me a while to understand how to sell stuff on eBay. I'm gonna try to figure out how to sell stuff on Amazon, but I'm learning how to scale. In other words, I can buy something for $1 and sell it for 20 bucks, and it takes me 5 minutes to put it on eBay. I can buy something for $1 and I can sell it for 50 bucks. It still takes me 5 minutes to sell on eBay. So in other words, my time, what it took to put that thing on eBay is still the same amount. But I was able to manipulate what I can sell. So anyways, if you guys like this video or you want to have any questions or ask me more, ask me. This is not a sales pitch or anything. I just wanted to shoot this video to help my students out, and also to articulate my thought, because a lot of times if you cannot express it, it means you do not have a deep understanding of it. Now I just want to add one more caveat. This is very scary because it takes a while to develop the skill, and it takes a while to work and earn money independent of time, right? And so a lot of people will just want a job, which is fine. If you're the lucky few who can land a good paying job with pension and stuff, stick with it, do it, because there's not a lot of stress to go with it. Unfortunately, when I moved here from Toronto, I was not lucky enough to find a job that was available to me in Toronto. So for 10 years, I struggled. I worked at a public school and stuff. And then after that, I quit. And for 3 years, I just worked all over the place, Walmart, whatever. And I still struggle. And until 3 years ago, until I figured this out, it finally clicked onto me, right? And so everything I do now, I want to make sure that I'm in a venture or a business that I can scale, right? And the concept of scaling is so important because we're living in the best time of our life now. We are living in a country that is very technology fluid. We're walking around with one of the most powerful device in our hand, right? And so with this little device, we can make tons of money with it. But not a lot of us don't think it in that term. We look at our smartphone as an entertainment device. At best, we look at it as a communication tool, right? And why do you think Uber or Yelp, not Yelp, Uber Eat or Airbnb, these companies are worth billions of dollars because they follow that rule of scaling, but they're also leveraging technology. Anyways, guys, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. It'll be awesome if you guys can give a comment or a thumbs up. And I will also repost this video on YouTube. And ask me any questions because I want to dive more into this, because I feel like if more people understand this concept, we can grow as an economy, and we can and it can lift you out of poverty, right? Because if all you can think about is like, man, if I can just get a job that pays me 10 cents more or 50 cents more or $1 more, you're not in control of your life, right? Because you're trading time for money. And you have to realize that your time is so precious. And if you can manipulate that, right, you're gonna go so much farther. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.